Welcome to the governance module of building your best board. So within this module, we're going to be looking at 5 different segments of sport governance. And really, we're going to be answering 5 things you need to know about building your best board. First of all, we're going to start with what is the difference between governance and operations. Then go into who should you have on your board, how do you recruit them, what do they need to know before they can apply, and how do you maximize board contributions? The first segment will cover the basics. We're going to deal with what is governance and really what is the difference between governance and operations and who cares. Then we'll get into the next segments where we'll refer to board composition, board recruitment, the terms of reference and policies, and feedback and moving forward. When it comes to governance, governance is incredibly important. We know that, and even from a club excellence point of view, the importance of governance is what reflects that which is within the organization. And so even from club excellence, the governance will include the mission statement, the values, the procedures. It'll be demonstrating the appropriate board structures and procedures. It'll have the policies, and it'll be making sure that you have the proper documentation and resources in place. So that all ties in to the framing of club excellence. But let's start with what is governance? So governance is really the system by which organizations are directed and managed. Very simply, directed means your vision, your mission, your values, the strategic plan of which your organization is based. Managed refers to the roles and responsibilities, the financial controls, the human resources, the outcomes and results. But when you refer to that and your governance, how is an organization run? Well, it's run by your board. And the board strategically directs and leads an organization. It's the board that defines the expectations and delegates the authority and adheres to legal requirements. And it's your board that realizes the organizational goals while aligning the values and social norms. So what does this mean when it comes to sport? Well, with sport, our product really is our people. Sport is all about people. It's about the athletes, it's about the coaches, it's about our volunteers, it's about the officials. It is the melding of passion and the dedication from our volunteers. That's what makes sport special. And so when you take the board and operations together they form the governance team. And it's together that team will work on the operating within the integrity and striving to enhance the performance and reputation of sport, but to make sure that the experience that all of our athletes, that all of our participants enjoy on the field of play is a positive experience. What we're out to create is a quality sport experience. And to do that, you have to make sure that the environment is well run, that the governance reflects and its house is in order, so that the programs continue to also be run effectively. The biggest challenge that we see is when different sports have a conflict and they're not sure between where's the focus with operations and what is the focus of governance. Depending on the size of the organization, and we can have clubs, we can have small clubs, we can have large clubs, we can have sport organizations that have just a few people, we can have sport organizations that are large. Within that, that's where the challenge comes, because you can have different models of governance. You can have a highly administrative board where your board is made up of a lot of volunteers and they're also very hands-on, and they may be wanting and they may need to be focusing on operations. But by the same token, you can have a large organization where the board needs to focus on the governance. It needs to focus on the guiding principles, and there is a team that focuses on the operations. You've got your paid staff, you've got your volunteers, you've got that which makes it work. So understanding the difference between governance and operations, especially in a sport environment, is critical. And so that's why taking just a few moments to reflect back and say, okay, so what are those core governing principles that all organizations should adhere to? I mean, whether it's coming from Sport Canada, whether it's coming from Club Excellence, we all have those common governing principles that help us keep items in order. So the first one, where we all made reference to our mission, vision, values, and the strategic plan, That's a core. It's what we want to achieve. The clarity of roles and responsibilities, understanding everybody's role is key. Making sure the financial house is in order, the financial controls is sport. Focus on the human resources, the human capacity, making sure we're looking after the people, ensuring that it's transparent and accountable and that we're looking for the outcomes, and by all means ensuring everything maintains a high standard of ethical behavior. That's what quality sport means. That's what's true to the form. And yet, we still have those conflicts. I know we're often saying, yeah, but my board said this, or, you know, I may be, whether I'm in skating or taekwondo or soccer, there are different times when there are challenges. And typically, it's a confusion between what should the board be doing and what should the operations team be doing. So if we take just a few minutes to look at the difference between boards and operations, the board creates the strategic plan, the vision, the mission, the values, those KPIs, the performance indicators. The board will define the roles and responsibilities of the board and the senior management. But operations use the strategic plan. They use the vision, the mission, the values to implement the strategic plan. And that's really different. They will implement the roles and responsibilities as defined by the board, but operations will define the roles and responsibilities of their team. So the CEO, he will be able to, or she will be able to define the Marcom director. They will be able to work with their communications manager. They'll be able to work with their technical director. They'll define their staff roles. However, the board defines the roles within the board and of senior management. Again, looking at the differences between board and operations, if we look at the different policies, the operations, the team may draft, they may recommend different policies for board approval, but it will be the board that will actually approve the policies. Similarly, the operations team may create a budget, but it's the board that will actually approve and monitor the budget. They will ensure that it's aligned with the financial and strategic plan. So operations has to monitor it on a regular basis, but it's the board that actually approves it. Same thing considers with legislation. The board needs to make sure that we are compliant. Operations will ensure that we do comply. That last part is, again, when we look at the people and the human resources planning, the succession planning, planning for the continuation. It is up to the board to ensure that they orient and develop a plan for the board continuation, that the board members have their own succession plan, that senior committees, that the CEO, there is a plan in place, and they will equally recognize those members. But on the operations side, again, looking at your CEO, looking at those who are heading up the operations portion of the organization, they will have to plan for their own staff and the continuation, whether it's they're moving on, moving forward, making sure there are succession plans for staff, but also to recognize their staff and the program volunteers. Very critical to understand the difference between board and the operations. So why is this important? Why do we care? Well, so with the recent Not-for-Profit Act and the Ontario Not-for-Profit Act, there was a large focus put on governance. Sport organizations and our clubs across the board, they are looking to see who is on your board, how long are their terms, what are the rules. They're trying to ensure there isn't conflict. And so the different legislation has imposed a bunch of different regulations and policies that we need to adhere to make sure that the board is in order. Not only is it from the Act, from the Not-for-Profit Act point of view, but our funders. So if you're looking at funders, be it Trillium, be it Sport Canada, be it any of your sponsors, they are now looking at your governance. They are looking at your club because they want to know, is it being efficiently run? Is it being effectively run? So in the past where they didn't look, and that really didn't seem to be an issue, it was more how many players can we get on the field? How is the tournament running? Is it being well run? That's not the only indicator. Now they're also asking for your strategic plan. They're asking who's there. They're asking, is there a vision? And that's why that is so important. So when you end up looking now at different clubs, and if we look here in the Ottawa area, being transparent as to what you're looking for, what the expectations of your board members are, what they're going to be doing becomes key because it allows you to recruit the best board members that can strengthen your club. So if I look at the Gloucester Skating Club, they'll refer right on their website to what kind of board members they're looking for, and they'll spell out the roles and responsibilities of the board and the executive committee. This transparency makes it really easy for everyone to understand what are the expectations and who is going to be on your board. That same thing applies when you're saying, how do I tell people about my organization? How do I tell people about my club? The 2-minute elevator pitch should always be easy to say if you've got a clearly articulated vision, mission, and your values. That's the piece that you work together with your board, you work together with your team, you work together with your members to ensure that it is clear. Typically, you'll put it on your website. Typically, you will share it, but it is something that everyone should be able to refer to. And when you are referring to it, your vision statement sets out your long-term goal. It's powerful, it's bold, it's what you want to be. The mission is how. Your mission statement articulates what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and how you're going to achieve those goals. And your values are what are core to you. And so if you look again at some of your core resources, and what we provide in here is we've given you some links to some of the different tools, and Club Excellence has even got a checklist where when you're trying to create a mission statement, you might be looking at, is it clear? Is it simple? Does it describe the what, the for whom, the how? Is it realistic? Is it unique? Does it embrace all the members? Simple checklist when you're looking at your mission statement can help you double check, okay, yeah, we've got our house in order here. So if you look again at a couple of the local clubs, I can look at West Ottawa Soccer, for example, and they have on their website their mission statement clearly defined, where they'll have the West Ottawa Soccer Club grows, promotes, and strengthens soccer in Ottawa by providing all participants with quality development, recreational, representative, and elite programs for life. They are saying who they are, they're saying what they're doing, in that they are growing and promoting and strengthening soccer. The all participants defines who all they're working with. How is because they're developing recreational and representative and elite programs. So they've said it's for everybody. They are building soccer. They're building different types of programs and for life. So in their mission, they're trying to still succinctly say what they're working on. Similarly, the Ottawa Sport Council will also display quite clearly as to what their mission statement is. What you'll see on the website is you'll see, again, their mission, their vision, mandates, they must have their values, are shared for everybody. And where this really helps by making it visible means that it's available for everyone and it makes it easier in the recruitment so that you can bring together your best board. So understanding the difference of what the board does, what operations does, making it clear what you are hoping to and what your organization is hoping to do makes it much easier when you are trying to build and to recruit your board. So this now has given you an overview of your governance. Now we're going to move on to segment 2 that's going to say your board composition. How and who are we looking for within our